Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right. Good evening and welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, president and founder of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC, and award-winning author. And welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have Stephanie A. Wynn. Stephanie A. Wynn, author, Crohn's survivor, and philanthropist, is a native Floridian. Stephanie has owned several successful businesses in the past, establishing her first business at the age of 23. In addition to being an entrepreneur, Stephanie has worked for one of the largest financial institutions, J.P. Morgan Chase, and former broker-dealer Invest Financial, working side by side with successful financial advisors and business-savvy investors. Stephanie has a strong desire to help others, which inspired her to write the groundbreaking book, Readi-Set Go, a simple guide to establishing a successful small business. She is eager to share all she has learned over the years about business ownership and hopes to inspire others to follow their dreams as well. Stephanie believes giving back to the less fortunate is a key component of success, and she understands the challenges of starting a business and finds joy in assisting those who don't know where to begin or are afraid to take that important first step. So without further ado, please help me welcome to my platform, Miss Stephanie A. Wynn. Hey, Stephanie, how are you?
Hey, Kimberly, thank you so much for letting me be on your platform and inviting me to be a part of your show.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I can't wait, like I said, to have this conversation. You and I kind of know each other. I've, been on and talked to you on your platform. So, like I said, this is kind of part B. So now you get to talk about you with me. So I'm real excited about this conversation. And Stephanie, before we dive into the questions in the interview portion of it, why don't you tell my listeners a little bit more about who Stephanie A. Wynn really is?
So Stephanie A. Wynn is a relationship builder. I love building relationships with, my peers, also just entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And I am the founder of Stephanie A. Wynn Business Solutions, a branding, marketing, and business development company. And we help, we teach authors, aspiring authors and emerging authors how to build their author brand simplistically without the overwhelm, and then take their book, leverage their book so that they can generate more income with starting a business, because being an author, it is truly a business. If nobody knows that you exist as an author, nobody's buying your book. And so that's my goal, is to help authors who have a book or they aspire to write a book build that author brand, because if there's no brand, there's no book sales. Mm-hmm. That's Stephanie A. Wynn in a nutshell.
Well, you definitely, told the truth on that. A lot of people who want to be an author or are already authors, they think that writing the book is the hardest part. It's not writing the book that's the hard part. It's marketing that book and understanding, like I said, who you are, how people are going to find you, how you can continue to maintain yourself and get those sales and keep yourself out there. That is the hardest part of being an author, because the biggest problem that I have seen being that, we both have this understanding that I think the thing that I've noticed that most people don't realize, it's a business, and that's where they usually fail.
Absolutely. You said something that resonates with me, and I say this all the time to authors, is that the easy part is the editing and the formatting and the design of the book cover, the publishing process. That's the easy part. The fun part, because I call it fun. I don't say it's a challenge, because I like staying positive, right? Mm-hmm. So the fun part begins when you are really clear on who your audience is. And I get it. I know at some point everybody says, "Oh, my book is for everybody," but it really isn't. Right? It's for somebody, but not everybody. And what I did when I first published the first edition of Readi-Set Go, a simple guide to establishing a successful small business, I thought that my book was for, anybody can start a business. That was my mindset at the time. Mm-hmm. But that's really not the case. I had to quickly understand my first rejection from in one of the independent bookstores when they said, no, we don't want your book here. I have no interest in starting a business. I've been in business for 30 years. I'm about to retire. That's when the light bulb went off for me, is when I got my first no. And that was because I wasn't clear on who my audience was, right? And so I had to go back to the drawing board and really create a business plan. So I created a physical business plan for my book because I wanted more than just my book being on Amazon. I wasn't really, my goal being an Amazon #1 bestseller, that wasn't my goal. Right. My goal was to put this book in the hands of as many aspiring entrepreneurs or startup hands as I possibly can. And so I decided that I needed to get real creative. So yes, that you got to have a plan for your book before you get the physical copy in your hand. Definitely.
Absolutely. And like you said, the key word that you said there was business plan. And that's why I was saying that most people still don't think of being an author as a true business. You are absolutely in business. And if you don't understand those other pieces, that makes it very hard to be successful business or a successful author. And like I said, it's one thing if you just want to write something and you say, hey, I want to be, an Amazon #1 seller. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great journey. That's great to know and have. But but if you're looking to do more, you need to think outside of the algorithm, process. And I think that's, something that people don't conversate enough about when it comes to being an author is that, anybody can write a book these days. We all know that it's very easy to do that now. There are many people who are collaborating to do all that, but there's so many other pieces that come with it, and it's all about business. So let's dive a little bit and kind of go backwards. I want to hear about your first business at the age of 23. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Oh, yes. That was so fun. So that was my ice cream shop. I started an ice cream shop. It's a physical a brick and mortar, and that was my baby. That sparked the fire to everything entrepreneurship for me. And I didn't have a point of reference. I didn't have no resources. I didn't have a mentor, but I knew inside of my stomach, like I really was passionate about opening up an ice cream shop in the community where children and their family can come and get ice cream, hot dogs, and French fries, just a quick snack for the kids. And then truly just helping helping our community. And so we didn't have an ice cream shop within the 5-mile radius. And so I wanted to make a difference. And so I was the youngest woman-owned ice cream shop in my city. And so actually I was the first. And so that was like legendary for me. It was not just impactful, but also it taught me that, okay, you can't do this by yourself. You're going to need a team at some point. Right. And so, and I was married. I still was working a 9 to 5. My husband, I was married. I had 2 children, a baby, an arm baby, and then I had like a 4.5, 5-year-old. So, wow. Again, I still had to maintain the business and then still work my night job at the bank. And so for those who are, people will say, well, how did you do it? I was passionate. I was so passionate about this business, and it was fun, but also at the same time, I was learning so much. At that time, there was no LLC. Right. It was just either a fictitious name or S Corp or C Corp. So again, I had to learn the ins and outs of, just having your records in order. I'm having a bookkeeper, having an account, I had to learn all of those things. There was someone that referred me to this entrepreneurial academy, and I invested in myself so that going forward, I can be well equipped. Now, I hear this all the time that I'm self-made and, I learned this on my own. Yeah, but at some point you had to invest in yourself to move to go to any level. You're going to have to at some point invest in yourself. Right. And so that's what I chose to do. I took a class, and again, it was more manual marketing back then. Right. Because it was difficult getting women on radios, it was difficult getting, just being featured in newspaper articles. It was like pulling teeth. You really had to know somebody that knows somebody for them to like pay attention to you. So I didn't give up. And that's one of the things that my drive was to be successful. And I got up every day excited to go and open up the shop. I positioned myself in a place where there was a beauty salon on the right, there was a barbershop on the left, there was a daycare center across the street.
Smart.
So the traffic was amazing. So that business is what sparked my entrepreneurship journey.
Right. And like you said, I'm listening to all the lessons that you learned at such a young age to where it catapulted you to be at those next levels. Like you said, doing it on your own wasn't so easy. And you realize you had to have a team of people. You realize that you have to have your money in order so that you can continue to buy the products that you need to have so you can sell those products. So, and the thing that I love that you said, though, is that how you aligned yourself around the other businesses so that you could get the business that you need. And I think a lot of times when people, like you said, when they jump into business and, they don't really know who their customers are going to be. They don't understand what their real purpose is. And you had figured all that out at the age of 23. And you definitely have to pat yourself on the back for that. Because, it wasn't, it's not just about, like I said, it's not always just about the passion and having fun. It's all the other things that come with it. And, to have that opportunity, first of all, it was even amazing at that age. But then to take on that type of responsibility, being that you were young, married, with a family, that truly is saying something about who you are as an individual. But it also tells a great story for all of those who are listening or all those who aspire to be in the business, regardless what it is, that these are the stories that we share because it's important for everybody to understand that we're very human. And these are the things that you go through when you don't understand or when you've decided to take that opportunity to step out on faith, so to speak, and just start going for it, but don't really have all the tools and resources that you need to know. And the thing that I like too that you just said was about, investing in yourself, getting that education that you needed to have to understand how to be a better business owner and entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. That's definitely, you have to, you said something that those that are listening, you're going to need someone that you can bounce ideas off of during business. But be careful, because what I had to learn too, people will give me advice that never had a business. Right? Never had a business. But they would tell me, I think you need to do this and you need to do that. Well, you should have this type of flavor of ice cream. Well, no, I shouldn't, because that's not what's selling. Right. So I'm not going to invest in a product that doesn't sell. So, and again, you have to look at the people, where the source of where it's coming from. So, push forward. Like you said, you may not have all the pieces together, but that's where your faith comes in. You have to step out. And then once you step out, all the pieces start coming together.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. But it's funny, like you just said that you always got somebody's got an opinion, right? Going to tell you how to run your own business, but they base it off of their own personal experience versus looking at the whole picture. Because if you're not a business owner, you're not going to see all of that. You're only going to see what's important to you. And so like I said, if we listened to everybody who told us what to do, we wouldn't be where we're at today. You definitely have to know who you are, what you're trying to accomplish and the purpose behind it versus just taking everybody's advice, because, it just doesn't work that way for everybody in business, and not everybody's meant to be in business. So for those who are giving that advice, it's like, you just want to say, kind of step back a little bit and learn from us, right?
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah, that's the way it has to be sometimes. So you have this amazing book. I want to know more about the groundbreaking book, Ready, Set, Go. Talk a little bit about that.
So Readi-Set Go was birthed from the ice cream shop. After the ice cream shop, although we ended up selling the ice cream shop, I ended up doing other businesses. So I had a cleaning business afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and then I ended up having my consulting business. And so, people were always asking me, Stephanie, how did you start a business? What did you do? And I would get people that would call me and say, hey, I went to this entrepreneurship center. They gave me all these papers. I'm overwhelmed, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so what I was finding is that startups, the reason why startups are so needy is because they don't have a point of reference. And the information that they do get is so overwhelming, it's not simplistic. And sometimes it doesn't matter what your your accolades are, how what degrees you have and don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people just need something just simplistic,
Right.
something
That's
that's going to get them from A, B, C, and D, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I wanted to do, because I'm an avid reader, so I've read so many business self-help books. Okay, you read my book here, and then once you finish reading this, you go pick up another book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to give you a little bit more, then go pick up that other book. I didn't want that. What I did want to do was I wanted to create a simple guide that will first educate you on, number one, like in chapter 1, I talk about why do businesses fail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they fail because not necessarily shutting down their doors. You may have failed in creating a business model for the business. You may just be on the fly. You may be doing your business on the fly, or you may have put too much money into promotion instead of, marketing and branding. And so, again, I talk about it from a standpoint of, I want you to think about, why do some businesses fail? They fail to plan is one of the reasons. Lack of confidence, no support team, right? Their mindset, maybe your mindset isn't right, and so again, that's Readi-Set Go. Readi-Set Go, it helps you, we educate you on, your team, your support team, branding. We also talk about some key terms.
Mm-hmm.
What is a LLC? What is a partnership? What is a S Corp, C Corp? We even talk about, like, we have you ask yourself questions. Do I have the attitude to run a business?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because,
that's right.
I hear it all the time. I'd rather not talk to people. Well, you rather not talk to the customer, but you want their money.
Right.
So that to me, when people fill out that questionnaire and they start asking, it's thought-provoking questions. Like, do you have the attitude to run this business? Right? And why should someone come to buy from you? So these are questions you want to ask yourself, because people may say, I don't have competitors. Yes, you do. That's right. You have competition. You may not think of it as that way, but it is. Right. I used to say, I'm not competing with them, but yes, you are, because if they're here on 100 and you're at 10, you're trying to get to 100. So, look at it as a point of reference. Okay, what are they doing?
Exactly.
And you need to know your numbers, like knowing your numbers. So it's definitely Readi-Set Go is a simple guide. It's an essential guide. It's an essential guide for the startup. Because they need this book. This tool is going to help you start your business.
Right. And like you said, that it makes, I like that how you talked about the fact that you don't have to go to, like you did, people say, oh, go read this book and read that book. And that gets to be overwhelming. And then, of course, now, we have, the internet, everybody wants to get on Google and try to find everything. Like I always tell people, yes, you can go out there, find all the information you want. And yes, it's free. But do you understand what you're reading? Do you know how to put these things together? You definitely want to have something available to where, if you don't want to spend the time, or you don't feel financially you're not prepared to be able to have somebody help you put together that plan, there are absolutely things available where you can learn, but you have to be willing to have that mindset and have that open mindset to want to learn and realize that the information that you're providing, the information that I provide, or many other people out here who are doing business and they provided these, books or ways to help you get established, there's a reason for that, because we've gone through the hard work. We're trying to help you not go through the hard work. But it's amazing that because today I found that, because people feel like they can be successful overnight, they don't feel that they have to go through that process. Have you found and have seen some of those same experiences? And how do you, kind of reel people back in, understanding that, yes, you may get that overnight success, but how do you sustain it?
So I tell people, like, don't, like, overnight success. That's I think that's bad when people think that they figure like they could read something and it's going to just take off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or you have people who have books. I'm not saying that you could sell a book. You could sell a book and you could sell 100,000 copies in a week, if your book is just that good. But think about this. Your book may be that good and plus some, but there was work that you had to put in behind the scenes to get to that point.
Right.
And what happens is people don't want to put in the time and the effort. We're not talking about investing, because we know at some point you got to invest in your book, your brand, and your business.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking about effort and time. A lot of people don't want to put forth effort or time.
That's right.
And those are two main things that you're going to need in whatever industry you're in. Even the most richest person in the world, they put forth time and effort in their business. And they get the very best of the people to help them on their team. There may be a graphic designer out there that, hey, I need you on my team because I need my graphics to be on. They got to be on point. It can't look shoddy, because that's not the message that we're portraying. We're portraying professional corporate client. That's the client that we want to attract, right?
Exactly.
So again, and that's just an example. So if you want to look a certain way, you want to have the very best on your team. And so I think a lot of times, like, when we say, okay, I want overnight success, and they're looking at as, they're getting all this information. A lot of times they're on information overload.
Right.
I've been there. You're going to Google, you're looking up everything because of how technology is. A lot of people don't like to read.
Exactly. Because big part of, and I'm just going to say something real quick. The big part of that is because we live in a society of instant gratification. Everything has become so easy. They'll tell you, you still have those books that, what is it, Google for Dummies and all that type. But then you have nowadays where you don't even have to pick up that book. You can get on YouTube and everything's shown for you. You don't have to take the time to learn it. And, by sitting down and reading a 500-page book, people want that instant gratification for everything now. So, you have those people who they're hearing you and they're saying, oh, she's successful, but she doesn't know what she's talking about because I can make this amount of money right now. Yes, you may be able to make that right now. But like I said, what is the ways that you sustain that? And I 100% agree with you that if you're not willing to put in the hard work, the sustainability is where you fail at.
Right. Absolutely. And to sustain, and somebody say, well, what do I need to do to sustain myself? Like, again, it goes to, you got to put in work. You got to be clear on, if you're an author or you're aspiring to be an author, be clear on why you're writing this book. What's your purpose? Like you said earlier, sure, anybody can write a book if they feel like if for notoriety purposes, right?
Right.
But are you truly writing, or maybe you're writing this book to truly make a difference in the lives of other people? And if that's the case, then you must build this brand. Kevin Hart said, someone asked him in Forbes, they said the contributing writer asked him in Forbes, what is one thing that you would recommend with people starting their business? And he said, build a brand first. So again, you got to build that brand.
Yep.
Because if nobody knows that you exist, nobody knows to buy into what you're selling. And I remember when I was going through the publishing process, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And that's the inflammatory bowel disease. And I still had obligations to the publisher. They don't care because you're sick or ill.
Right.
They want their money, right? So you still have to show up for that. And I almost gave up on this book because I was frustrated. I had entered into a contract, that I really didn't understand the contract that I was getting into. Because I didn't make I'm going back to effort and time. Although I had the money, I just said, look, you handle that. You take care of that. I'm going to pay you for that.
Right.
And so that's my goal, Kim, is just to really help these authors understand you must put forth effort and time because, yes, like you said, instant gratification, but that instant gratification may cost you in the long run.
That's right.
If you're not paying attention to all of the I's and the T's that are not crossed, right? We definitely, you got to pay attention and get laser focused on, again, like what's your true purpose? Like what is your goal for your book or in your brand and your business? What's the goal? After you've gotten that physical copy in your hand, now what do I do? I remember that day. I got my book in my hand. Okay, but what do I do? The publisher didn't tell me what to do.
Wow.
I went on YouTube and I started researching, and I'm like, okay, this lady had a book launch party. Okay, so I need to plan a party, right? I need to do this. And then it was like, oh, the light bulb clicked. The light bulb turned on because I had experience having a business. Oh, Stephanie, you need to create a marketing plan. Let's do this book. Let's do this business plan for the book. And that's exactly what I did. So again, I started creating these marketing strategies and put a plan in place so that I can get more exposure. And so now I don't regret going on a nationwide book tour. I don't regret going to speak at different colleges and high schools and middle schools so that I could get this book out in the community, right? So that I could make a difference in the people. So,
Absolutely. And then, of course, you have a podcast as well. So being able to share your information and your story gives even further reach, So there's definitely that another portion of marketing. Yep. Another way of building the brand.
And again, like I wasn't thinking about doing a podcast. But it just God just downloaded that idea. Get your podcast so you could drop these nuggets for your community. And that's what I wanted to do. It's a business podcast where we drop, we have guest authors on, guest speakers where we're impacting and we're giving them 3 takeaways every episode. You're going to get something from the episode, right?
Right.
So that's my goal, is to just continue to impact and empower those who want to tell their story.
Right, exactly. And then for those who, worried about the cost and they don't feel that they can afford it, but they really want to move forward, these are the types of opportunities, listening to these podcast shows, learning from people who are dropping these, as I call them, peak nuggets like you're doing tonight. You're giving people that information that they need to understand. Yes, it's not all the A, B, C, D, E, F of business plans, but you're giving them the opportunity of saying, hey, here's something I can go to, I can read it, I can learn. And then you're also going to talk about how they can find you, what you can do for them. So why don't you go ahead and provide that information right now as we speak?
Absolutely. The podcast is the way to go. If you're an author, you should have a podcast.
Absolutely.
That's the easy way to bring awareness to your brand.
Exactly. So we are obviously getting close to the end of our show, and there's so much more we could continue talking for hours because it's such formidable information, and it's necessary. But we obviously don't want to give it all out on the podcast show. So I would like for you to share your information with the listeners about where they can find you and how they can also purchase your book.
Yes, so you can purchase a copy of the book at StephanieAWynn.com. You could select the shop tab, and you can click on the Readi-Set Go book. Also, for those authors, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on all platforms: LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Instagram, Facebook, Stephanie, A as in Apple, is my middle initial, and Wynn, Wynn, and Stephanie is with a Phanie. And I also have a freebie for your listeners too. It is the How to Find Your Ideal Reader. It's a simple guide. It's a tool that you can use because you need to know this before you publish your book. If you're going through the publishing process, even if you've published your book and you're still not clear, pick up this free guide. It's going to definitely help you with, it's going to help you save so much time and frustration. I promise you.
Well, all right. Well, we all love free things. So if you're serious, listeners, if you're truly serious, take the time to do the research so that you can have a profitable business, whether it's being an author, whether it's opening up a small business of some sort. No matter what it is, you definitely have to put the time and effort into it. And Stephanie, we absolutely appreciate you coming on tonight and spending some time with me and sharing your story and providing, like I said, those pink nuggets to everybody. I really thank you, and really do thank you for coming on.
And if I could leave this word of encouragement for your listeners, if you're aspiring to write a book, if you're aspiring to build your brand, or if you're aspiring to start a business, one thing I want you to always tell you got to believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect others to believe enough in you to buy what you're selling? So believe in yourself. And thank you so much, Kim, for allowing me to be a part of your podcast. This has really been a good opportunity. And I'll send you over the link for the freebie so you can share that with your audience as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. And again, I appreciate you spending some time with me. And for everybody else, before we close out tonight's show, just quickly want to talk about the fact that, hey, we learn a lot about what it means to take the steps that you need to take in order to lead yourself into something successful, a successful business, right? But the key thing I think that I got out of this main conversation is that, are you ready to go? So think about this. Yeah. And for those listeners who really truly want to chat about taking those dreams and turning them into goals, please reach out to me anytime at Kimberly at WSBILC at gmail.com. And let's have that conversation, because there's nothing worse than not taking that first step foot forward. We can show you how to do it. If you also want to be able to get a hold of Stephanie, I can get you connected with her. So let's go ahead and turn those dreams into goals. And of course, if you want more of your resource for success, we are accepting monetary donations to support the podcast now. And you can do that through Cash App, PayPal, Good Pods, Tip Jar, or go directly to the website at www.wsbilc.com. And again, we would like to thank you all for listening to us tonight. We'll be back next week with more amazing guests. Be sure to follow us on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcast. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening and good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.